60-40 with the Democratic Party, I'd probably be okay with that. 70-30, we're starting to have a problem. But when you're 98.1% of the time lockstep with Nancy Pelosi out of California, you're not representing our interests anymore. You're representing your party's interests. This is a loggerhead right now. 1994, this is it all over again. I remember I was living in Roswell, Georgia, and I voted for Newt Gingrich. And obviously, we all know he helped lead that Republican transformation. Here's the deal. It's 2010. It's exactly the same scenario now it was back in 1994. We can take this seat. He is so vulnerable. He has come back for so many years. And, I stand really humbly before you all because I know Chris Kobach, a lot of great candidates. But here I am, and humbly asking for your support. The bottom line is we need to keep somebody that's being fiscally responsible. If you look through what Dennis has done and what he's voted for, there's been $50 billion an hour of spending in the first 50 days that he has voted for, over $1 trillion. The fiscal conservative blue dog that he was, he can no longer stake claim to that. One of the things that really got me going was when, I think a lot of you know who Keith Schuler is. He's a blue dog out of North Carolina. When he voted with the Republicans in the House, and as you all know, they stayed unified against the stimulus package. Harry Reid's spokesman called up and said, you know what? When Heath was saying he had to vote for this to be fiscally responsible, and I feel this way too. Senator Reid's spokesman called him up and said, from somebody that threw more interceptions in the NFL than he threw touchdowns, you kind of take it for what it is. That's the politics of personal destruction. I'm against that. I'm going to fight for this seat based on what I can do for you all, and I have a lot of experience in the medical field. I can tell you that's a really important thing. The taxes, the stimulus package was bad. We could have done a lot of things differently. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to listen to you. I got my feet wet. I also was working with Senator John Thune, and a lot of you know he's the junior senator from South Dakota. I was out in D.C. in September. We had a meeting, and I went to visit John, and he was introducing me to Norm Coleman, unfortunately. And a lot of you know the reason Norm Coleman lost is he stopped campaigning 12 weeks before the election. You got to fight every day until the very end. That's what it's going to take to beat Dennis Moore. But talking with him and also talking with Lindsey Graham, we need people that are willing to go out there, put their best foot forward, and take the fight to these guys because he is so vulnerable on these issues. And with healthcare right now, the seniors are upset. We can coalesce into a fighting unit right here. I hopefully will be the leader for you on that issue. Another thing that's very important to you all is the higher cost of energy. The cap and trade, I conversed with Dennis extensively about that. I like to call it the cap and tax. Drastically going to impact the state of Kansas. You all know we have one of the biggest hubs for railways in the entire country. How does the food get out of here? Diesel and coal for the trains. So when you think about that, when Dennis said, CBO said that'd be a budget neutral, it costs families in Kansas $175 a year in the year 2012. What he did was, that's an accounting CBO. He did not take what I call these dynamic scoring. Long and short, Dems like to talk about static. Like if I give you, Sean, $1 bill, it's gone forever. You can't give it to anyone else. I like to believe in dynamic scoring, and that's what the cap and trade will happen. It's a dynamic economic scoring. It's going to have a higher tax on diesel. There's going to be higher tax on coal, fossil fuels. You're going to have higher costs. And what do businesses do? They don't pay taxes. They pass it on to you. So one of the things I would fight for is immediately lower the United States corporate tax to 13.5. Have it the average of the rest of the world. We're driving out business right now. Cut the taxes. When you think about economics, if you can take home one thing from tonight, and even if I'm not the candidate, remember the Laffer curve. It's that point where you have spending and taxes and income. You reach a certain point, people stop working. I had a conversation with a doctor this week. Some of these surgeons that do a lot of work, they might make $450,000, $500,000 a year. I don't have a problem with that because they give up 1/4 of their life getting their education, 1/4 of their life paying for schooling, 1/4 of their life to save to last 1/4 of their life. What they're telling me is if they have that surtax that's being proselytized through the House, he's not going to work on Fridays. He'll work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What's that going to do to all of us? Well, if he's only working 4 days a week, he's not going to use a full employment of 10 people on staff. He might only need 8. If we go to this private public health care option, it's going to be really draconian because there's a place for the insurance companies. We don't need to totally upheave the system. We need to modify it, amend it. Once again, I don't want to go over time, so somebody will let me know where I'm at for time.
You're doing all right. You
Okay,
got
fine.
about a minute and a half.
Excellent. So here's the deal. We take what we have, and a lot of you are familiar with a senator called Tom Hover. He's out of Oklahoma. He's got a real rational way to do it. We take, like for example, if South Dakota and Nebraska and Kansas, neighboring states have an insurance plan that you like, a lot of times we can't get it here in this state because we have different rules and regulations. What we need to do is open it up to, like Dr. Coburn or Senator Coburn says, is have a clearinghouse, allow more competition into the system, give people tax credits, because that 47 million number you keep on hearing, remember, when they passed the S-chip legislation back in February, it was one of the first things they did. It raised that salary up to $80,000 for a family of 4, if I remember correctly. Those people are still counted as uninsured. They're not. They can get S-chip coverage. There's 9.1 million people in the country that make over $75,000 or more. And this is from the 2007 census update with regards to economic insurance coverage. 9.1 million people choose not to buy insurance. A lot of young people, 25 to 34, hey, I'm fine. I don't need insurance. So what part of his program, and I fully signed on with this, is allow people to kind of buy a la carte. Like you do your car insurance. You want a $250 deductible for your office visit? Well, then your out-of-pocket for the year might be $500. If you want a $15 copay, well, then your out-of-pocket for the year might be $1,000. There's ways to work it and give people tax credits, tax cuts to help fund that. Because at the end of the day, we don't need to revamp the system where 85% of Americans have health care they like. And you're all making a difference because the number of people that are disenchanted with the president's plan is over 50%. So I'm humbly asking, you all to consider me as a candidate to unseat Dennis Moore, and you have my commitment that I will work hard. And when you come to my office in Washington, D.C., call me John. I won't be condescending like Dennis and not stare you in the face. So that's what I have to say, and all 4 questions.
Thank you, Mr.